up, guys? Dr. Vic here, and you're listening to another episode here on the Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you on today as we're going to dive deep into a concept that I'm on a mission, and I've been on a mission for a few years now, and it's really gotten full steam ahead this last year, and that is how to help individuals break away from the conditioning so they can really lead a more fulfilled life, lead a more soul-filled life. That's what I really care about. And it might be a book. I've said this before. It might be a book coming out. We'll see. I'm feeling the vibes of a book coming back. And my stomach's like, you're really ready for another book. But it's like, I really feel within like some sort of book is needing to be written. I have a couple ideas that keep coming up, but nothing's sticking. Once it sticks, I'll keep you guys posted. But this is a concept that we get so caught up in the world, right? And I see this in so many ways, right? So I grew up, and most like most others, when you look at someone who's wealthy and well-to-do, it's the big house, the nice cars, the fancy clothes, the elaborate, things that they own, stuff like that, right? I saw it on TV, conditioned me. That's what wealth is. Then I started to break down that conditioning, and I got conditioned to other things, like what's a successful chiropractor looks like. What do they live in? It was very similar. And then I got caught up into conditionings of what's a successful coach, right? And you see like what people do and how much they make, and everyone loves sharing on social media sometimes of what sales they've had and all these other things. And it got to a point where it's just like, and you see them living this luxurious life, and I have nothing against that. I've done it. I've chosen certain things. I've only chose what I like. And what really matters for me, luxurious is being outdoors in nature. I just love nature. It's so rewarding in so many ways. And I love to travel too. But the point I'm trying to make is that I've been conditioned in so many ways, and I know others have too, having these conversations with them. And what ends up happening is we get caught into this trap, and we don't live our truth and what really matters for us. You see, because I used to call myself a business and spiritual mindset coach. It's just too long, right? It's just come on now. So business and mindset coach, a little shorter, but everything I do is spirituality based. Everything is spiritual. And the reason why is because three fourths of your life is invisible. Now you might be saying, what are you talking about? Three-fourths of your life, okay, that's made up of spiritual, soul, mental, and emotional. Can you see those things? Like when I say, where's your mind? I bet most people thought your mind is here in your brain. That's what we've been conditioned as a society. But it's not. Your mind's in every cell of your body. It's in every aspect of you. You're the totality. Your whole beingness is part of that. It's not held in one situation. And I remember I was in chiropractic school one time, and they were talking about this, about memory. And they're saying we don't really understand the mind so well because we believe it's a hippocampus, that short-term memory, long-term memory gets programmed over here, and blah, 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 all the neuroscience. Won't bore you with the details. But what was fascinating and this is what I love about what the question was brought up. There was a little girl who was born where she only had the outer edge of her brain. So I don't know what condition it was. The interior part, I don't even remember half the details. But this is what stood out to me about this. She couldn't have memory because hippocampus wasn't developed. It wasn't there. So she couldn't have memory, but yet she did. And it puzzled people on how, especially neuroscientists, of how this can be. And the instructor, being the instructor that he was, very open-minded, he said there's just things we don't understand. And maybe the mind isn't what we think it is. Maybe it's everywhere. And that it was a good inspiration for me to inspire me to want to look deeper. This is where we get to the point of today's episode is a lot to do with these concepts and so much more, because it's really, really getting to what matters most from a spiritual perspective. You see, we live in a world today of information era, and it's like, okay, great, you know this, you know that, you have a smartphone that you can depend on that, right? Give your power away to that. You internally have a power that's actually more powerful than the phone itself, more knowledgeable than the phone itself, smarter and faster than the phone. Now, you may say I'm crazy, but I could back this up. When your part of your brain, your right side, computes about 1 to 2 bits of millions of information per second. Now, yes, quantum computers, supercomputers process even faster. I think there was one, I can't remember. There's a new computer that came out. I'm a tech geek sometimes, so I like to learn things to just keep up on what's some cool records that are being broken. But it's one of those things that there's this thing about the human body and the mind that is just absolutely amazing, and so by far any technology we'll ever see. The point I'm trying to get at with all that is this: we need to start looking at our lives. If we want to, here's the thing: you don't have to do this. But if you want to lead a more fulfilled life, lead a more soul-filled life, and lead life in the point of what matters for you, you choosing to live consciously, which means choosing what you want to experience, being the creator that you are designed to be. If you want those things in your life, then let me tell you what we need to work on here, and that's going to be spiritually. We are spiritually means visualizing and creating and going into your imagination, going into this feeling of just being, lighter and excited about the things you do in life. Okay. Because there's so much about life today where I still see it. It's funny how things really haven't changed for humanity. I was reading some books. I'm back into lately. I've been very inspired to read. Well, I listen to books, but I've been very inspired to listen to books. Maybe because I have to. I help my daughter loves napping with us. So what I mean by that is she has to be held. If you put her down when she's sleeping, she wakes up. And so we're like, all right, we're gonna support her needs and what she needs. And so we take turns, my wife and I. So I get about maybe an hour and a half to 2.5, 3 hours sometimes, on the weekends even more, to where I'm with my daughter and she's sleeping. And so I was like, you know what? I should take some time and listen to some books. And I'm like, let me see what comes to me. And now I'm deep into these books. But there was a book I was listening to, and it was all about the consciousness of humanity and the evolution of what we've come from. And it's fascinating how we really haven't changed much. 2,000 years, not much of a difference. A little bit, but not much. The game is still the same. The political people still controlling the masses with their games and their psychological whatever and all that other stuff still exists. The players have changed, but the game's still there. Money is still the driving force that people will do anything. They'll sell their soul for money. And here's what I mean by selling your soul for money. Um, you would do things that normally you wouldn't, or do things outside of what matters most to you. Right. So like I'm going to take a job because fulfilling my dreams of choosing what I want to have and experience that is not, I'm not worthy of that. So I'm going to take a job instead and be paid a certain amount and then let the company tell me what to do. Now, if you're listening to this and you have a job, please, I am not bashing that at all. If that is, some people are designed to want to have jobs. So you got to understand everything fits in the unit. Like when I say, like some people say, everyone should be entrepreneurs. No, everyone should not be entrepreneurs because not everyone's designed to be entrepreneurs. That's not what they chose to come here and experience. So understand that's what when I say that, for some other people, it's like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I love working for a company and working for a team and helping supporting their vision. You're a supporter in that way. That's perfect if it fulfills you. You see, that's what I'm coming back to is I don't care about what people do. It's just, does it fulfill you? Does it help you lead a more soul-filled life? Okay. But money has always been the driving force. I mean, hell, they killed Jesus for money. I mean, people changed their votes to I forget the guy's name now. It's been so long. But it's one of those things where they did that. I mean, it's around the world. How many times have money has been paid off, people being paid off to do things? Look at the mob and what they've done. I mean, I can go on and on. It's been around. It's still here. It still exists today. Money is a driving force. But we need to start to look at things a little differently. Because when I do my coaching and I work with my clients, we work on fulfillment. And 30 to 5, almost 40% of my clients this year changed careers in the middle, in the midst of this year. Now, what does that mean? They had a business, they were doing the business was going well, but they realized through the work of what I do, they found out it wasn't fulfilling. They found out it didn't mean is what they thought it meant. And they felt like they were waking up from like a dream, an illusion. Like literally, like, I can't believe I'm still the same person, but I see things differently. I just don't understand. And then we created a whole system to help support them with a strategy to achieve the results of where they wanted to go. So if you are seeking for fulfillment, here you have to go spiritually. So let's get into this conversation a little bit. I'm planting seeds, but I want to dive in here. So let's look at if money is the root, right? So if you're saying, no, I need money, money needs to pay the bills, money's this, money gives you this, money gives that. Okay, fine. I'm not saying it doesn't. You need to pay the bills with money. There's a part of this living in this life. Money is a part of that. Okay. But it's not the end all be all. And here's why. My question to you is, would you trade your time, your position right now with Steve Jobs, whose net worth is a little over $30 billion right now, if he was still alive today? Would you trade positions with him? Or how about this one? If I gave you $1 million a day, but there's a little catch to this. I'm going to give you $1 million a day, but you would have to die tomorrow. Would you do that? Now be real honest with yourself, right? Be brutally honest here. Most people would say, no, I'm staying around. What does that tell you? Your time, your life is worth at least $30 billion if you don't want to trade your positions with Steve Jobs. Right? Your time here is much more valuable than any money. Our experiences are liquid gold. The experiences of what we have in our life is what your soul seeks. This is leading a spiritual life. Choosing experiences and going through the experience is what your soul seeks. Okay. This helps us grow spiritually as also mentally, emotionally, and then also physically it affects us. Right? I said 3/4 of your life is invisible. And these 3/4 are what create the physical. Now, physical is what? Your body, your physical experience with others, and money is in that realm too. So that's one thing. But let's go another further, right? So let's say if money's the end all be all, and you're like, that's okay, Doc, heard that before. Okay, great. Let's take the $1,000,000 and I'll give you $1,000,000 a day, but you're gonna have to be held with a very devastating disease for the rest of your life. Would you want to take that $1,000,000 a day? And you can't cure it. The money's not going to cure it. It's incurable, and it's going to be debilitating. You can't do much. You basically your quality of life diminishes massively. But you'll have $1,000,000 a day. You want to trade that? Most people are going to say no because their health and their well-being and what they can do in the world. And they're, I always tell, like, the moment I can't do stuff anymore to just go do what I choose, I don't think it's worth me being here anymore. If I can't be a part of something and to help individuals or to, be with my family and, be something there, then it changes the ballgame. And so right there, that kind of tells you, okay, well, your health is way more important than any dollar. The last is that, it can come to with your friends and family, right? You get paid $1,000,000 a day, but you can never have any friends or family ever again. No more experiences. Your partner now gone. Everything's gone. No more relationships. You're isolated, but you can have $1,000,000 a day. Would you do it? Most of you are going to say no, which means that your relationships, your marriage, your partner, your kids, and so forth is well worth more than that. Now, some of you may be listening to this if you made it this far and you're kind of going, okay, Doc, these are obvious. Are they though? See, because a lot of people get this intellectually, but don't get this experientially. I might be making up a word there, but it's one of the things what I'm saying is that we don't live that. We know it, but we don't act it, right? Because here it is. I gave you three things: your time, your health, and your relationships. To me, are the biggest things about life. I teach my clients all about mindset, relationships, your health, and your mission and passions of what you want to do. Because the passions lead to giving you your spirituality, what you want to give to the world. And so when we look at these kind of concepts and look at these things, this is where it all of a sudden, it's where are we putting our energy? What's our actions? What are we spending our time on? Right? Are we spending our time on things that really fulfill us, that really excite us, to inspire us, that we enjoy? Okay. Not everything in life is supposed to be enjoyed, or is it? Right. And that's just a mindset thing. We can make that happen. I always tell my clients, like, nothing, you can enjoy everything that you do, but we just have to flip the script on that a little. Same thing comes in there with your health. Are you doing things that help empower your health, right? What are you doing to invest in your health and so much more? Are you learning as much as you can about your health so you can stick around on this planet for as long as possible, keep your mind sharp and so forth, and not become a stat like what we're seeing in America in healthcare today, where diseases and chronic illnesses are happening sooner and sooner, and our life expectancies are going down. And it's not something that I'm praising about. We knew about this. I say we, as chiropractors in the holistic arena, we kept saying life expectancy is going to take a turn and it's going to drop fast. We kept saying this. Everybody's like, no, look, it keeps going up, keeps going up. Yeah, 10, 11 years later, we're finally starting to see the second consecutive year of drop. And it's only going to get worse because we're in a system that's failing and we don't spend enough time finding out good information. There's blockages and censoring on this of what really works. And the same thing with our relationships. Are we spending enough time with our relationships? See, here's the thing. Those who want to go after money and strive for money and make that all about their success, especially in a male, the old archetype of a male success is based on money. I'm not saying females aren't like this. I'm just going old school here. And a lot of men value themselves based on how much they make. And it's one of those things where if you do the first three things I just talked about, the money just comes. You see, because money all is life energy at the end of the day. It's life energy. And what does that mean? What it means is that it goes to people who have high vibrations, high consciousness levels, those who can center and focus on something, right? Those who lead a fulfilled life, money is never an issue. I'm not saying you're gonna be have billions and billions of dollars. You could, but you'll never have to worry about a dollar again because the money will always be there. Because you're coming from a place of abundance. And what you're doing more importantly is you're focusing on the things that actually elevate your conscious level. Relationships to me are the biggest thing outside myself. So a lot of people say, what's the most important thing you focus on? Me, self-care. It's the first thing I focus on. It's me, my mindset, my health, everything. That's all me. That's the big thing right there. That's over anything else. Why? Because when I can do that, my cup's full and then I can give. I'm the greatest version of myself. When I can be the best version I can be at that moment, man, how do I show up in my marriage with my wife? How do I show up with my daughter? How do I show up with my clients? How do I show up with my family and friends? I'm being the best version of myself. My energy is radiant, I'm vibrant, and so much more. That's why it's so critical to do these things. We need to start taking a step back and first looking at things from a spiritual perspective. What feeds my soul? Not what feeds my pocketbook anymore or gets me caught into all the delusions of life and all these people trying to grab your attention and showing you this is the way and so forth. And you may be saying, hey, Doc, you said this is the way. I said, yeah, if you want this type of a life, we got to go spiritual. That's all I'm saying. Now, spiritual can mean different things. People can go more. You can understand, I want to be very clear. Spirituality does not mean religion. It's not religious. But being religious may be spirituality. But spirituality is not religion. So the purpose of spirituality is what gives you purpose, what gets you deep inside, giving you experiences that fulfills you. What excites you? I can't tell you what excites you. You got to do that. You got to understand what that is and then do that consistently and stay focused on that. When I work with clients, and I had a lot of clients this year break records financially, and it's one of those things where the beautiful thing is we didn't really do a lot of new things. We focused on themselves. We focused on what I'm sharing with you. Where do we spend our time? Where do we spend our energy? What are we doing? What's in alignment to what we enjoy? Do things more that you enjoy. Take more breaks. What? Not be working? Yeah. Take more time off. What? That I can't do that. Yes, you can. Go do it. You'll see why. And all of a sudden, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the road, they're breaking records. And it's not like they ever been in. They just had a business, just startup. No, they've been in business for 15. Average client right now has been in business for 16 years. 16 years. Now, you may see, okay, the youngest is 9. So, no, 10 years. 10 years in business. That's the youngest I've had as a client. So, understand that there's something working here because they haven't hit these records ever before. One's been 26 years, broke a record this year. Why? Focusing on what matters most. It's all energy at the end of the day. So, if you want to lead a more fulfilled life, let's be more mindful of our time and where we spend it, who we give it to, because we can never get that back. Understand that when it comes to your health, let's get better on our health. Start looking at your budget and start to invest more in your health. If you want to go get a gym membership, get a gym membership. I'm big on home gyms. That's a big thing. I have a home gym, very nice, simple, does what I need and so much more. When it comes to relationships, invest time with them. I have a daughter who's only 4.5, almost 5. She's 5 months today, actually. And it's one of those things where I look forward to our daddy-daughter night dates. Can't wait to do those. My wife and I talk about them like we're going to have our own unique relationship with them. Then we have the family relationship. And I want to have the strongest bond that we can possibly have. And it's one of those things that it's valuable to me to have a relationship, not just with my daughter, but also my wife and our future kids. God bless. God, we're fortunate enough to have more kids when the time comes. And it's one of those things that we work on this consciously, and we're effective with this, knowing that that's what matters most. And if we're not in a great place, then, life happens, right? And so if we're not in a great place, nope, we get ourselves in a great place, and then we continue to move forward. And the thing is, we show our kids that, we do it now, where we show her that strength now, so she can see, and we model that. Very important to me. So that's where I spend a lot of my time, energy, and focus on those kind of things. Where's yours? Let's get really crystal clear, because when you start to do these things, you could tell my voice changed. I started talking slower. I had a little bit more depth to my tone and my voice because I was really connecting with my heart. That's my family we're talking about. I told you, relationships are everything. Relationships with my parents, and my nephew and niece, my sister. These are important. My friendships. I don't have a lot of friends, that are in my inner circle. But those friends that are in that inner circle, they know I that they're not friends to me. They're family. And so it's understanding those relationships is what matters most to me and wakes me up and inspires me. Then money just follows. Why? Because it's always going to follow fulfillment. Because when you are fulfilled and you're vibrating at a higher consciousness, as long as you know where you want to go with a vision or have a goal, and you keep that energy up, it's going to happen. It's universal laws, quantum physics. It's all aligns. So really take a moment and really look. We got a new year coming up. This is a great time to really look and see what really matters most. Look back on your life and what you focused on that was great, things that we didn't do great, focusing on, and then what can we change? And what do you want to change for the next year? I highly recommend you don't wait till New Year's to do this. You do this now, and you start doing it now. Why? Because when the new year comes, you're already moving forward. A lot of my coaching clients already, they've already got projection sheets sent out to them. Actually, did it yesterday, where I'm like, I want to know your projections by the end of this week. Why? Because I want to have your projections set in stone for next year, so we can start working on them. Now, I started doing mine at the end of October. Why? Because usually the fall, the fourth quarter, it's a coasting quarter for me. And I really start to look at what I did really well this year and what are things I can improve on. And I do it every year. So that's why my recycle is in October, end of October usually. So look at your life and reflect on what you can want to improve, what really matters most for you. And ignore the noise. The noise is life, friends, family who tell you how you should be, what you should be doing, what really matters for you. Because we're at a tipping point in life where we're either going to continue doing the same old, and that's just going to take us down a dark hole, or we're going to really choose the light and really start to choose spiritually what fulfills us, what gives us more, what inspires us, what gets us excited more, what puts a big smile on your face, not just here, but the inner child in here. That's what's going to matter most. That's what I hope for you. Any questions, please reach out on social media, DM me. Love to hear from you. Any questions you may have. If this is the first time listening, subscribe if you haven't already to the podcast so you don't miss another episode. Also, if you enjoyed this, please share it with at least one person. And lastly, if you like the podcast, please do me a favor, share a review. It really helps get the podcast out. It helps us fulfill our mission and vision of what we're doing here at the Mindful Experiment and so much more. I want to appreciate you guys. As always, until next time, keep rocking and rolling.